Every culture has a voice through music. But every voice is different. The diversity of the language of music has connected humans from across the globe. Music expresses feeling and emotion shared by an entire culture of people through innovative ways of creating organized sound. These organized sounds connect to many things, including math and science, social sciences, textual analysis, and the mode of inquiry of music itself.
A great way to explore the music of Indian culture is to take a look at their classical or traditional pieces of music. Classical music of Indian culture through history is based on ragas or colors, which are scales and melodies that provide the basis for a performance. Contrary to Western classical music, Indian ragas are not composed by a single composer and are not as specifically structured. The pieces go through an evolution over years in order to represent a universal idea of the world through not just one composer's eyes. The performance of these pieces allow for more personalization, comparative to improvisation in a piece of jazz music. This music is played with many instruments uniquely popular to Indian culture, such as the sitar and the wooden flute. A huge part of the expression of these pieces of music is through dance. The art of Indian dance is performed for large audiences and also done as tradition with family and friends. It involves a lot of light jumping and large gestures with hands and arms. These dances represent the emotion and musical energy that these unique Indian pieces allude to through their instrumentation and creativity. The music of India is an art, expressed through many different unique instruments and through the art of traditional dances.
One of the most famous musicians worldwide, Michael Jackson was known as the King of Pop, as he dominated the American music industry for over 4 decades and still remains as one of the most successful musicians of all time. His song Man in the Mirror captivated the heartstrings of his audiences by simply showing the only way to make a change in the world is to first make a change in yourself. The textual analysis of this piece is fairly straightforward, but the lyrical meaning is so powerful and unlike many other American pop songs. Everyone wants to make the world a better place, but how many people actually do anything to make that change? Jackson's message needs no deep analytical interpretation for the audience to understand how him and his songwriters just wanted to grasp the attention of listeners and change their viewpoint to see that there are always people less fortunate than them. The lyrics are simple, but the meaning is life-changing and has had an inspirational effect on not only American culture, but cultures around the world.
It is the complicated rhythms that make African music so subtle and exciting.
All music can be broken down into formulas, whether it be in regards to scales, rhythm, tuning, chords, pitch, melody, or harmony. There's a mathematical equation that tells us what to play and when. To play music at its most basic level, all you need is a scale and a rhythmic pattern. All countries and cultures have their own generic patterns and scales. African music is no exception, with varying chord progressions and rhythmic structures that define the musical piece. For example, the most common structure in sub-Saharan music is called the standard pattern, and it sounds like this. A common scale used in African music is the major pentatonic, which sounds like this. Patterns such as these are found everywhere, and if you understand the formula, that is, what notes come where, you understand the music.
You hear a song on the radio or in the credits of a movie. What do you think of? Do you think of the rhythm, the beat, the lyrics? Perhaps you think of the message or the moral that the song is trying to reveal to its listeners. The method of using music to market a concept or share a story has been practiced for centuries in various parts of the world. Now, what is it that lets cultures mesh together, yet be so unique? It's not just their traditions, food, and religious practices, but it's also their music. Let's focus on classical music during its peak of greatness and prosperity in the 18th century. Europeans propagated classical music from one country to the next. For a moment, let's spin the clock back to the 18th century. England is flourishing with uprising colonies and industrial advances. This meant there was quite a bit of money to be spent and lots of time. Attending operas, orchestras, and theaters had become the norm for the people of this century. But what is it about classical music's mirrored rhythm and melody that made it so marketable and trendy? It's how it was being used not only to entertain, but also to communicate in more desirable ways. Classical music in this century was used in gatherings to ignite social conversations with other people attending. The music told them how to move their bodies. If the song was upbeat and preppy, then they would dance happily. If the song was at a slower pace, the crowd would dance more somberly to match the rhythm of the music.